All right, ladies and gentlemen, we are going to start so we can get out of here on time because I told you 7:30 and youth pastors are not known to being on time when they're done. So I'm going to work really hard on that. Got a lot to cover. I just want to begin by saying welcome. I'm glad that you are here. Let's put slide 4 up on the screen for me, Adam. If you have not scanned this yet, you need to scan this. This is your digital link tree. This will give you the links to everything that you're going to need tonight. If you're technologically, how do I say this respectfully? If you're not good at links, I do have some hard copies right there, but you have to walk all the way up front to get one, or send your kid. I mean, that's possible too, but I do have hard copies, but it's better if you do it that way, and because everything's there and you can have it forever. Anyway, so that's that. Make sure you scan that code. I want to say this. You are probably, as we go through this night, you're probably going to have questions, okay? We're going to do questions at the end because typically I never get through things if I'm stopping for questions. So if you have questions, please make sure you take note. Please make sure you write them down, whatever the case may be, and then we'll take questions right at the end, okay? So I just want to say this. We are doing this meeting for the same reason we do it every year, and that is, one, to let you know what's coming up all the way through the summer, so just give you a preview of the year all the way through August, and two, to help you feel comfortable to send your kids to summer camp with us. So we're going to be discussing the events of the upcoming year and all that kind of stuff, including all the summer camp stuff. So please buckle your seatbelt. Get out your phones if you need to take notes. But we're going to start with upcoming events. We're going to start with spring break event called Cereal Heaven. And in order to help you understand what that is, we took the time to shoot a little video.
Man, I love cereal. What would I do without it? I doubt that I'll ever have to know. Who would, or even could, take cereal away? Unless... I wonder if there's cereal in heaven.
Yeah, not so fast, buddy. Boys, let's get them! Oh, finally! My life's work is complete. Cereal heaven is no more.
I just got here. What do you mean it's no more? What have you done?
Without these pulls of power, cereal heaven can't exist. I will have killed cereal once and for all. Watch it. It can't break. And best of all, forks and spoons will again be equal. And cereal itself will be a distant memory. What's that? What's that there?
Me and my friends will never let that happen. We will save cereal!
Yeah, we'll see about that. Let's go, boys.
Will you help me?
There you go. There you go. There, yep, okay, there we are. There you go. Cereal Heaven, that's our event. We have flyers in the back. Just to be clear, you're like, what is going on? Why are we having cereal-themed events? Here's the thing. Every year for spring break, we do a ridiculous cereal-themed event that is outreach-oriented, okay? This is designed for your kids to get excited about inviting their friends. It doesn't come across churchy. It doesn't feel churchy on the front. But we're going to have a gospel-centered conversation that night about the goodness of God. Students ask all the time, why does God allow bad things to happen to good people? Well, the opposite question of that is actually, why does God allow good things to happen to bad people? God is good, and one of the greatest evidences of that is when he sent his son Jesus to be to the cross. We're going to talk all about that. The night will be filled with cereal-themed games. They're going to be fighting evil forks along the angelic spoons. They're going to try to defeat the serial killer. It's this really fun, team-oriented event. And when and if they can defeat the serial killer, then cereal heaven will be intact once again, and we can finish the night with the largest cereal feast any teenager or human being in the world has ever had. We have ordered over 20 of the world's most popular cereals, including 2 gluten-free options, so that students, they're going to get their own bowls, their own spoons. This is a really cool event. Anyway, so we have flyers in the back. The idea for that event is that you send your kids, and then your kids invite their unsaved friends, okay? Now, let me be clear. It's $25 per person for this event. It's $10 for a first-time guest. But Pastor Mike, my friend was here last week. They're a second-time guest. First-time guests only. And by the way, we're not doing this so that we can steal your friend from Palm Valley Church. That's not the point. Don't invite your friend from who's been going to Palm Valley or whatever church for 9 years and to give them a $10 discount. The point is to invite your friends who don't know the Lord so they can hear about the goodness of God. So it's $10. You can text your small group leader. They'll give you a discount code. So when your friend registers, if they're a first-time guest, your friend can register for $10. So the idea there is that you invite all your friends. We have a great time. We hope to have 100, 120, 125 kids, whatever, fighting all the evil forks with our spoons and our brains and saving cereal heaven. It'll be a fantastic time. So flyers are in the back. You can take some of those for yourself. Get yourself registered. The link is already on the link tree that you already scanned on the QR code. So that is the Cereal Heaven event. That will take place. That is a spring break event. So that's March 13th. That will go from 6:30 to 9:30. That's an extended midweek. We're extending it by an hour. So that is when that will happen. And I think that's everything I need you to know for now. Second thing I want you to know about, parents of high school students or incoming freshmen, okay? Promotion Sunday here at Compass Church is the first Sunday of June. So current 8th graders on that Sunday will become 9th graders. We have a high school only event that's called VBS Mission Trip, okay? The VBS Mission Trip, essentially here at Compass, we do Vacation Bible School like most churches. That's where it's a summer program for little kids. One of the things that's unique about Compass Church is that our high school ministry puts on a large portion of that program. We begin training in April, begin preparing for that. That way when little kids are here in the mornings for those 3 days during the week this year, the high school students are putting on most of that program. So that takes training and preparation. We will begin that training probably mid-April. I don't have a date on that yet, but probably mid-April. That will be Sunday evenings from 6:30 to 8 every Sunday, and that's how we kind of train and prepare for that. We will have high school students move onto the campus Tuesday, June 4th at noon, and they'll go home Friday, June 7th. I don't have a time yet because I'm still trying to come up with something cool for them to do before they go home. So just know that those are the dates. VBS here at the church will then be June 5th through 7th, so it's 3 mornings, June 5th, 6th, and 7th VBS program that we're partnering with the kids ministry with Pastor Laura to put on here. So just know that that is coming, and we'll have more information with that as it gets closer. Before I start talking about camp, I want to draw your attention in the guidebook and even on the link tree that you, when you scan the code, you see at the bottom of the link tree that there's some buttons you can press for our Instagram, for our YouTube channel, for different things like that. Parents, we do a lot of parent communication. We have a parent, I call it the parent trap. I have 3 forms of communication that I use all the time to keep parents updated on what's going on here at Compass Church. In the packet, the parents' packet, you'll see on that sheet of paper those forms of communication. We have a Facebook group for parents that you can click on in the link tree or in the packet. We have a text list that we text parents out, and then we have it's typically a monthly video series that we post to the Facebook page or text out. The monthly video that I do that's strictly for you parents so that you know what's coming, okay? So you're getting initial information right now. Every month when I do that parent update, you'll get that video and you'll get more details as things get closer. So I want to make sure that before you leave tonight, if you're not a part of that text list, that you become a part of that. It's on that page in the parents packet. If you're not a subscriber on our YouTube channel, you subscribe to that. And if you're not on our parents' Facebook page, you join that if you're on Facebook. Okay, I realize not everyone's on Facebook. That's why we text everything out as well. So also, it'd be great for you to be following our Instagram. We use a lot of communication with the students through that Instagram channel. So again, all that stuff is on that page. So please make sure that you take a look at that. That would be super, super helpful, okay? 5 minutes. Any questions on anything that I've discussed so far? I'm a little ahead of schedule. Any questions? Yeah, Gabby. No. Middle schoolers can serve with the kids program side. So you can come and be a part of the VBS, that kids ministry. So Pastor Laura needs volunteers, but that's not a staying the night thing. Staying the night's for the high school students. Yeah. Well, is that what you meant? Okay. Then yes. Great question. Any other questions on this stuff so far? Everyone got the digital parent packet and or the hard copy and can find all those ways to connect with us. I don't want to be a broken record, but I really want to make sure that you're looped in on those communication pieces because we work hard to make sure that you know what's going on. But if you're not looped in there, you're never going to see it. I know a lot of you are in it and you use it, and I appreciate that. But I just want to make sure anyone who's like on the fence, I don't need that, like, yeah, you do. You do. If you're not on Facebook, just join the text list. We'll keep you up to date that way. Okay? Cool. All right. No more questions then. Moving on to summer camp. Okay, cool. There's a lot of bright lights, so if I'm missing any hands up, just yell at me. Okay, well, let's show the promo video for Hume, SoCal.
Loves you and he knows you. He created you for more.
For our sake, he made him to be sin who knew no sin.
And he died so that you could live.
When we trust our lives to Jesus, he forgives us, he purifies us, he walks with us, and he changes us from the inside out.
Who's ready for Hume? Every year I get to this place where I'm like, it's February and we're talking about camp and we're crazy. I was talking to some of the Hume camp directors because I was kind of yelling at them this week in my loving Mike Serrati way. That's probably a teenager trying to steal your car. I'm just saying, we're so sorry about that. I think we're good. Anyway, Hume is a little late this year at getting their theme out. I do have the theme. I will introduce you to the theme tonight. I don't have the theme video yet. It's still in post-production. And so I was giving them a hard time, and they were like, why do you need the video? Like, it's February. And I was like, we have a parents' meeting about camp in February. And they were like, why? And I said, have you seen your prices? And they were like, yeah. And I go, that's why. We want parents to know the prices so they have time to save or take out loans. I mean, come on. So anyway, I was having some fun with them, but apparently this is not something other churches do, so they're not getting it out yet. And I'm like, well, I do it, so get it out, please. So they gave me the theme even though there's no video. So I'll share that theme in a second, but let me just talk about Hume. I know a lot of you parents in this room, you've sent your kids to Hume summer camps with us before, and there's not a whole lot that I need to say to you because your kids come home and you're like, man, I'll send them every year as long as I can afford it. If you are new here and you are thinking about sending your child for the first time to Hume summer camp, especially if you're a parent of a current fifth grader that's about to become a sixth grader, I've been through that. My kids are in high school now, and I know how scary it is to send your kid to camp for the first time. And it's way scarier for you than it was for me because I'm the youth pastor. I went with them, okay? My hope and prayer is that by talking about Hume and then getting you in this room with so many other parents who can tell you the impact that Hume has had on their children will convince you. It will always be scary to send your child. It will always be scary, especially the younger they are. It just is what it is. I don't mean to be prideful or to boast, but we do a really good job at helping you feel comfortable sending your kids. Especially my middle school team and I, we work very hard to work with different issues that parents are concerned about for their children who are young. There can be all kinds of varying concerns and issues that parents have when they're sending their middle schooler who just graduated fifth grade to a summer camp for 6 days. So just understand that we are going to work very hard to make it comfortable for you, to help you feel comfortable. And the reason that we're going to do all that work, the reason we're going to put that effort in is because we've seen firsthand for the last 12 years what kind of thing God does at Hume, SoCal, with our students. It's a special place in our heart. It always will be. They do an incredible job. There's a reason we keep going to Hume, even though summer camp prices across the board are going up, including Hume. And that's because Hume is the best, in my opinion. And every year God shows us that. Every year God confirms that. So my hope is as we go through this, that you will feel more and more comfortable, okay? So first, if this is your first experience with Hume, this is a forest camp. Years ago, Hume SoCal used to be a beach camp. We went to Point Loma Nazarene University, if that's what you still thought it was. It's not that anymore. Hume bought a camp in San Bernardino, California in the mountains, and they own the space now. You'll notice on the parent list that it says 6 days of camp, and you're like, time out, wait a second. Wasn't it always 5? Yes, it was, until 2024. I learned something new this year. The camp up at the lake, so Hume Lake Christian Camps, up in Northern California, up at the actual Hume Lake, has always done 6-day camps. I didn't know that. I've always been a Hume SoCal guy. I don't feel like driving students for 14 hours. That doesn't sound fun to me. So we go to SoCal. SoCal was a 5-day camp for whatever reason. It always has been. And they were like, why are we doing 5 days when everyone else does 6? Let's do 6. So camp this year will be leaving on a Sunday, coming back on a Saturday. All right, typically we would leave on a Monday, come back Saturday, but they just wanted to make Pastor Laura's job harder so we could take all our workers away for a couple times this summer. So we've already warned her about that. She's getting counseling. Anyway. So 6 days of recreation, lake activities, memories, spiritual growth that will just, essentially I like to describe camp like this. Every year we spend twice a week pouring into your children, Wednesdays and Sundays. Summer camp is like an entire year of ministry and discipleship packed into 1 week with all of the distractions taken away. Cell phone coverage doesn't work. Hallelujah. Their friends from school that are toxic to them aren't around them. They get away from mom and dad. They're hanging out with friends. No offense, but that's helpful, actually. It's this growing, adventurous thing that happens in them, and God just moves. The Spirit of God is so powerful up there. It's a beautiful thing. Hume Lake Christian Camps have been doing summer camps since the 80s. This is a very well done and safe camp. They have full-time nurses on staff there. They have full-time security on staff there. They have so much staff at that camp, and this is why, one of the reasons I love it, if I just put all my cards on the table. They have so much staff at that camp. My team and I, we go up there. We don't do anything but hang out with your kids. That's all we have to do the whole week of camp. The relational growth that happens between us and them, yeah, we're playing basketball tournaments and breaking toes, jumping up and down and almost winning. I think we won the middle school tournament last year, didn't we? Where's Tavis? Yeah, we won that sucker, right? I broke my toe doing that with you guys. Couldn't even play for high school camp. Anyway, that's all we have to do because Hume handles all of it. They have so much staff there. They do all the recreation, all the security, all the medical stuff, all the food stuff, all the rec stuff. We literally get to be kids playing with your kids. It's amazing. And I will say this, and this might be an indictment on me, but I think this is the best thing we do every year, and I have very little to do with it. So I want to just encourage you. Last year, we baptized 20 high school students at camp and 6 middle school students at camp, and the majority of those gave their lives to Christ while at camp. Okay, that is incredible stuff. Incredible stuff. So, let's get to the dates, cost, and theme. Middle school camp is June 16th through 22nd. June 16th through 27th. June 16th Sunday through 22nd Saturday, 2024. High school camp, we bumped it back further. We bumped it further into July by 1 week this year. That was really helpful for a lot of reasons. Mostly because COVID becoming a problem with camp, and most years I get COVID and I'm barely able to go to high school camp. So we gave me another week in there. It is what it is. I just don't feel like, not only do I not feel like going to camp sick, but I don't feel like going to camp getting your kids sick, and then you have to come and pick them up. It was like, this is silly. So high school camp is July 7th through 12th this year, July 7th through 12th. So that's 1 week later than it was last year. 13th. What's it say? I always do this. Sunday through Saturday, 7th through the Saturday, 13th. Okay, there we go. Super Spirit Day. This is the theme this year. All I have is a graphic so far. It's called Elion. It is a robot dystopian planet, okay? It's the idea is like chrome, cyber, and neon. Basically, the way it's described to me is think Tron. Think Tron, okay? That's sort of the theme. And they do theme videos every year. They do all that kind of stuff to kind of help take the spiritual theme, help add depth to the spiritual theme. To be honest with you, it's incredible what Hume does in thinking through the spiritual theme, applying it to their kind of game theme, kind of like what we just did with Serial Heaven. Serial Heaven creates a conversation about the goodness of God. We're using the theme to create conversations about God. They do that better than anyone I've ever seen. Each day before the speaker speaks, they do a video that pushes the story further, that sets up the entire theme for that day. It's incredible. It's so much fun. So dystopian, new planet, Tron, maybe a little space feel to it. It's kind of what a bunch of us were thinking it might be. So that's what it is. I hope we will understand that better when they release the theme video. And once we have that, we'll share that with you guys. Okay. Camp this year. I almost get afraid to share this every year. Yeah. So camp this year, last year was $670. This year, camp has gone up to $780. So let's talk about that, okay? First thing I want to say, what time is it? Where am I at? Okay. 7:20. Okay, I got time. First thing I want to say, I said this last year, I'll say it again. We will continue to go to Hume as long as you value Hume. If we get to a place where Hume is just out of too many people's reach at that price, then we'll start having different conversations. And I'm very comfortable with that. I love Hume. I think Hume does this amazing work. But with the rising costs of everything going on in this world, plus them adding a day to camp, I'm expecting Hume's going to be about $800 next year. And I'm just starting to wonder out loud how feasible that is for everyone. So last year at 670, I was worried we were going to lose students, and we didn't, okay? In fact, we took one more student last year than the year before. So I just need you to understand that we are keeping an eye on this. I'm talking to Pastor Ron about this. It bothers me how much we're charging for camp. And I need you to understand, that's the base cost. That's what camp charges me for your kid to go. We subsidize transportation and the cost of our staff to go with through the golf tournament. So most churches that are taking kids to camp are charging about $1,000 a kid this year. So, yeah, I mean, we're dreaming about how we could get that golf tournament, double, triple the amount, and we could start using the tournament to take more price. Could we just create a $100 scholarship per kid? I need to raise an extra $10,000 of the golf tournament. We're working on it, I promise. But at the same time, I've got your back. We want your kids to have an experience, and if Hume can't be it, then we'll figure that out, okay? So we'll see how that goes this year. We'll see how registration goes. We have secured 60 spots for high school and 30 for middle school. Both camps are in a waiting list position, meaning I cannot go back right now and get more spots. Last year, that was a huge problem for high school camps, so I did bump it up by 10 spots, thinking we took 64 high school students last year and 31 middle school students. So I felt like that was a good guess for us with the higher rates, thinking maybe this is the year we start losing a few kids. I don't know. So that's where we're at. $75 secures a spot today. You can do that right now with the links if you'd like. A second deposit of $75 will be due on April 1st, and then the balance will be due mid-June, okay? So it's part of the reason we have this conversation in February, because at that price, I mean, you got to stop eating, stop driving, stop buying new shoes that you can send your kid to camp. Anyway, I will say this. I do continue to think that Hume is worth it, but that's at the price point for me as a parent. I would almost spend whatever it took to get my kid to Hume because I believe in it so much. But that's not youth pastor Mike, that's parent Mike. So, anyway. Who can go to camp? And then let's get to the fundraisers because I know you want to hear about that. Middle school camp, incoming 6th graders, so that would be right now current 5th graders. Starting the first Sunday in June would be incoming 6th graders. Through outgoing 8th graders, those age groups are allowed to go to middle school camp. If you're currently an 8th grader, it's the 1 year that you get to choose which camp you're going to. They'll let you go to either one, okay? So you get to choose that. High school camp, incoming 9th graders and outgoing 12th graders are allowed at camp. Yes, the students who graduate in May are still allowed to go to camp for this last summer. So the only thing I would say is if you're trying to decide what camp to go to, we're not really in a position where we can do a lot of changing. Like, I signed up for middle school, but I really want to go to high school. Like, that's pretty tough because the camp makes those spots non-transferable. So if you get to me before I go on the camp side and put your name in, we'd be fine. But if you get to me after that, you're going to have to call the camp and plead. It's up to them at that point. Fundraisers. So there's 4 fundraisers we do. All are very successful, so let me try and explain these to you really quickly. Number 1, we do a golf tournament fundraiser every year called the Summer Camp Classic. The Summer Camp Classic is a tournament that we've been doing for about 6 years now. Every year it raises more and more money. Last year we brought home about $17,000, which allowed us to cover transportation, which is also ridiculous right now. Transportation last year cost us about $10,000 to get kids back and from camp, to and from camp. So, and it also pays for the youth staff who go to camp, okay? Youth staff who go to camp are my staff on my team. They're already vetted. So parents, if you want to go to camp, I'll just tell you now the answer is no. We do take our staff first. We take our staff first because they're the small group leaders and they're the ones investing in your children. The only time I'll make an exception to that is if there's some sort of special needs situation with your child, then we can have that conversation, and I'm happy to do that, okay? But our staff take a week off of work, and so I want to pay for them to go because they're already losing. A lot of them are young, so they don't have paid time off. They're losing money. So Summer Camp Classic pays for that. Now, that said, the Summer Camp Classic is a golf tournament fundraiser. It has the opportunity. Golf tournament fundraisers are known to make $30,000, $40,000, $50,000, $60,000. What's going to help us do that is you connecting us to businesses that will sponsor it, okay? We have a website. It's called thesummercampclassic.com. It is a part of your link tree on the QR code that you scanned. The very bottom link there will take you to that website. That website allows you to register to golf in the tournament, which is something you can do. But it also allows you to sponsor the tournament as a business. So if you own a business and you'd like to do something as little as purchasing a sign, or you'd like to do one of our 3 sponsorships, we have a gold, platinum, and tournament sponsor. All of those sponsorships will earn your business a free foursome to play in the tournament, which is kind of a fun perk. But the more businesses we get on board with that, honestly, it's free money. And 100% of the money from that tournament goes to camp. 100 of it. All of it goes to camp. And if we were to ever get to a point where it would raise more than what we need for summer camp, or for transportation and staff, we could absolutely look into creating scholarships for every kid. We've just never really gotten there yet. We would need to probably raise about $27,000 in pocket in order to get there. We could do less, but it would be a small scholarship. We'll have those conversations if we ever get there. So all I'd say is if you own a business or you know someone who does, we are currently having conversations with businesses to create sponsorship opportunities. So please, I cannot express to you how helpful it would be if you were to forward me contacts with businesses that we could reach out to. So anything you can do there, even if the answer is no, it creates a contact for future conversations. So please help us do that. Secondly, we have the Serve-a-thon. The Serve-a-thon is an incredible fundraiser that has immense power to raise money for your children, okay? I'm gonna explain this very briefly and simply, okay? The Serve-a-thon is a fundraiser that takes advantage of our 501c3 status and allows you to get family and friends to donate towards it, where that money will go directly to your kid to go to camp. Here's how it works. We find an organization. We've been using streetlights for years. They just informed us today that their new license will not allow minors to serve, so we're looking for a new organization to serve. But once we find them and get a date on the calendar, your child will start telling family, friends, bosses, coworkers that they're serving at this organization on this date, and they're asking people to sponsor them while they serve, okay? So they sponsor that service project. So the first person that benefits is the organization, because we're going to bring 50 students for 4 to 5 hours to do whatever the heck they need. So whatever organization we pick, they benefit. The second person that benefits is the donor, because they get a tax deduction from the donation. okay? So if grandpa donates to your child's serve-a-thon, that donation is tax deductible because they're donating to a church. The third person that benefits is you. Because as a nonprofit organization, we have the ability to choose to do whatever we want with donations, and we choose to take that donation and put it towards a scholarship for your kids' camp. Okay? This is all legal. I've checked every year because I feel guilty and weird about it. Every year I ask, I'm like, we sure this is legal? It's legal. You can do it, okay? So realistically, if you're paying $250 to send your kid to camp, you might as well swap with another parent. Make it tax deductible, okay? That is the benefit of the serve-a-thon. You can do that. So I will say this, every year, we have multiple kids who raise every penny of camp through the serve-a-thon. Every penny. Parents will not pay a thing. So I'm working currently on getting us a space, a place, a date, all that kind of stuff. As soon as we have that, we'll get the fundraising kit into your hands, and then the job is yours. It's not mine. I did my job. You got to do the work. You got to be the ones to go out and raise those funds, okay? It's all done online. They can donate online. It's really, really cool how it works. Everything that your child earns through the serve-a-thon will go to camp. The third way that you can earn money for camp is through the cafe and scholarships, okay? Every year, Compass Church, lovely people come up to me and they're like, hey, Mike, I want to send a kid to camp. Here's a check. I don't even ask. I've stopped asking at Compass Church because Compass Church values this every year so much. Last year, I got $8,000 given to me for camp. Those scholarships, I tend to try to save those for the last-ditch moments, okay? So those are like, hey, we signed up 3 kids for camp. Fundraising didn't go like we thought. We're $800 short. What do we do? And I go, nothing. We've got you. That's kind of how I like to save those scholarships because then I know that I'm using them for for the genuine needs. And the reason I can do that is because of, I won't go there yet, cafe. Compass Cafe on Sunday mornings. You guys all get your coffee from it. You may or may not know that's a fundraiser. When you see students working that cafe and you see that tip jar, everything that's from that tip jar gets put in a little envelope, and that envelope gets put in the safe, and then we document who worked, and every penny of those tips go to the workers for that day, and we bank that for them throughout the year. So students who work the cafe regularly throughout the year are often raising $100, $150, sometimes $200 just by showing up and serving coffee. Because that's a front door ministry, we actually treat it like a job. You get hired and fired. We are very close to firing a couple students, so we're looking for some new ones. So afterwards, if you want to go outside, you'll meet Devin in the Compass Cafe. She has applications. Those who are in currently 8th grade or up may apply. Everyone below that, it's unfortunate, but we've just been asked to keep that older kids so that it's not too much going on back there on a Sunday with first-time guests and things like that. So this summer, if you have a 7th grader, on June 2nd or whatever that Sunday is, I think it's June 2nd, come get an application from me because they can start working that day and bank it for a whole year, all right? We are looking for workers. We do only hire what we need, so it's kind of cool. We interview and you get hired or you don't, and we keep you on a list. It's a job. So, and the reason we treat it like a job is because we love your students. We don't like being mean to them, but if they're not doing a good job, we need people who will, and we'll fire them. Okay, really good, awesome experience. In fact, we've had people put the Compass Cafe down on job applications as a job because that's how we treat it. So. Lastly, the reason I hold the scholarships to the end is because of something that Hume provides called Camperships. Okay, Camperships are also something that is on your link tree. You'll see a link on there for Camperships so that you can read all about that. When you sign up for camp, I go into the Hume side and I plug your kid into one of those spots on camp. And the moment I do that, you get an email. Congratulations, your child is signed up for camp. At the bottom of that email, it says, apply for a campership. What you do is you click on that link, you fill out the application, and you ask for funds, okay? Hume is a massive organization, and people donate millions and millions every year towards camperships. I do not know off the top of my head, I don't want to overstate, I don't know off the top of my head anyone who applied for a campership last year who didn't get approved, okay? So I would recommend that if you need help lowering the cost of camp, you apply for a campership. Hume is, I met with them last summer because I was kind of new to it, and I was like, tell me more about this. They're like, have everyone apply. We have money. Apply. Tell them to apply. If you need help, apply. This money is here for people in your church who are struggling to pay the cost of camp. And there's money there. Please tell them we said apply. Did I do a good job? So apply. Last year I applied. I got funds. I think I got $100 off each of my kids for camp, okay? They'll ask you what you'd like to have in a campership, what you feel like you need, and they'll ask you some financial questions. I don't see anything about that other than they send me a report of everyone who's been given a campership and how much so I can plug it in on my end. So I want to encourage you to do that. Get signed up for camp sooner rather than later. That $75 down is all that's necessary in order to get a spot. I'll plug you in on the Hume site so you can get that campership applied for. We heard back about those camperships last year, I think sometime early May. Okay? So I just want you to know that opportunity's there. And the reason that now that that's there, that's why I like to hold that scholarship money towards the end. And last year we definitely had families who needed it. Okay? And we were also able to apply a discount to everyone last year because that scholarship money ended up being so much and not all of it was used. So you'll notice that a lot of you got some, I think all of you got help from that. So anyway, it was a year ago. I don't remember all the details. Last thing to be said then, here's how to register. Registration is open as of today. You'll see the links in your link tree. I want to say this, if you've been working cafe, the money that you've raised in cafe cannot be used for deposits, okay? The $75 deposit, the first and second deposits, you cannot use cafe money for that. The reason being is every year I have people back out of camp after paying deposits, and camp does not give you your money back. Okay, so when I pay your deposit to the camp, it's non-refundable. Okay, so I want, it's just easier if you lose that money. It allows me to not have people applying for camp thinking that they can just back out. I want you to lose the money if you back out. Now that said, I know that sounds harsh, but it's a major problem every year when I have people backing out last second. And now I'm having to talk to the camp, and it's like, how much are you going to charge them? And they're like, well, it's too late now. It's the full amount. And I'm just like, why are we backing out? Okay, it happens, and I love to work with you if there's a good reason for it. But that's why I don't allow scholarships or any of those funds to be used for the deposit, because it's got to be your money, because then you're not paying deposits for thinking you can just get out of it easy. Forgive me if that comes across harsh. I'm just being honest. We've had issues every year with that. And again, there's reasons for it, and I get that. But it's incredibly challenging. And honestly, I feel bad. I don't want anyone losing money. But also, you backed out 2 days before camp. Like, I don't know what to tell you. So anyway, so register as of today. The sooner you get online, the sooner you can apply for a scholarship. You can wait to register. You don't have to do it today. The only reason you would want to rush to do it today, there's two reasons. Number one, you want to make sure you get a spot. Number two, you want to apply for a campership sooner rather than later. The only thing that I would say as a point of caution is that the spots that I have right now are the spots that I have. Last year, I was given extra spots at the end, but we really have to wait at the end. It's like 2 weeks before camp when they start releasing spots, churches start releasing spots back into the bank, and I can be on a waiting list. So the moment our camp fills up, next people who sign up, they go on a waiting list, and then I put them on a waiting list at camp. So that if camp releases any spots, I try to be as high up on that list as possible to get as many of those so that we can take more kids. Okay? So, I have spots, but they're currently very limited. Okay? I have 5 minutes. That's how much time I've left for questions. So, I've got a couple things I want to do right at the end here, and I want to leave time for that. So I have 5 minutes. Did I miss anything? Any questions? Camp, events, anything? Now's the time. What time are we leaving on Sunday? I don't know yet. Probably 7:30. Around there. Give or take 30 minutes. Carlos? Yeah. Yeah. That's so true. Yep. That's a big reason why in fact, in more transparency, camp actually costs $859 this year. But because SoCal was one less year last year, they were talking about bumping it from $670 to $859. So they gave a big break to returning churches. So we got like $80 off per kid to help us absorb some of that sticker shock. And I don't mean to talk about the price as if it's not worth it. I hope I've made it clear that it is worth it. But I also feel like I'm in it with you, and that's expensive. So I'm trying to walk that line there for you. Thank you for that. Appreciate you. That is very true. We got an extra day. Yeah. Yeah, totally agree. Totally agree. Other questions? Yeah. June 15th. Yeah. Ooh, thank you for that question, Devin. Cafe balances, we push those as far back as we can. We typically begin to work on that in the first 2 weeks of May. And the reason we do that is because the more Sundays we allow to go into that bank, the more money you get. So we try to send out the final balances at the very latest May 15th, but we're aiming at March 1st, or May 1st. Devin helps me every year run those numbers. It's quite an ordeal, so there's just a lot to do. We have to get through the serve-a-thon, all those kinds of things. Once those things starts buttoning up, somewhere in the beginning to mid-May, we'll get you your balances, which will include the cafe. Correct. Yeah, good question. Once you register your children at Compass, that's very good. Let me say that again. You never need to register your child with Hume. You will never go to Hume and say, I want to send my kid to camp. You'll come to me and say, I want to send my kid to camp. I'll register you with Hume, and Hume will email you. Every year we have confusion with that. Last year I had a senior in high school, like, yeah, I registered for camp like months ago. I'm like, bro, you're not on my list. So I called Hume, do you have a Jaden? And he's like, yeah, it's here. I was like, dude. So it was a mess. So register with me, not with Hume. Hume will send you an email if I'm doing my job right. Thank you for that. Good question. All right. Last one. You're allowed to get pictures shared with you from staff who will take photos. It's called AirDrop. Unless you have an Android, then I'm sorry. We'll text you. It'll be pixelated. Someday they got to fix that. Like, you can't send a picture between an Android and anyway. All right, can I get all of my youth staff up here on the stage, please? Calling all youth staff. Come on up. Come on up. You deserve it. You deserve all the rounds of applause. You put up with these people's children. You give them date nights on Wednesdays. All right. Every year, I like to put my staff up on the stage so you can see their faces. This is a good chunk of my team. These are your kids' small group leaders. They're disciplers. These people are weird. These people are weird. They like teenagers a lot. They choose to volunteer their time hanging out with stinky, pimply-faced teenagers who are sometimes mean to them, okay? But they love them. And so I want you to see their faces. I'm hoping tonight that if your child's small group leader is up on the stage, I'd love you to get a chance to meet them. Love you to exchange phone numbers sometimes when you'll have a conversation, you know what I'm saying? If any of these people ever approach you with a conversation about your child and some behavior, things like that, they're not mad. They just need help. So sometimes we need your help with your child, and you know them better than anyone. So I try to encourage them to have those conversations, but they're afraid of you. So hopefully now they can meet you tonight, and you guys can all become good friends. So thanks, guys. Get off my stage. Give them a round of applause.